like to call the September 20th Business Committee meeting to order. Roll call, please.
Mary Petita,
Here.
Dr. Lynn Charpentier,
Here.
and Mr. Myron Wright.
Here.
All right. Item 2, Insurance A, to receive a year-to-date performance report on the self-funded medical plan as presented by Buddy Leday of Gallagher Benefit Services, Inc. Mr. Leday.
Thank you, Ms. Mary. We are a month early for the review of where we are, what we call the aggregate report. We usually do this quarterly, so it would typically be next month. But because of item 2, which we're going to talk about, we wanted to just show where we stand year to date, and then we're going to present some positive, very positive, impactful things to the program for the employees of Lafourche Parish School Board, some plan upgrades for your review and hopefully approval. But this is the year-to-date numbers, guys. I'm not going to go line by line, and I'm not going to go back as it's a 10-year history of where we've been. We've done this plenty of times, fully understand it. I'll just zone in on the very bottom, guys. The last 2 months, July. Last time I was here was in July, and I was given a 6-month report. I said things can turn on a dime, right? And they did. July was a really bad month. Okay. August, however, came back down to earth a little bit, right? Which we expect in the summer months. A lot of people have different things done and so forth. So we're hoping August improved, and we hope September will improve as well. We could finish the year strong. However, if you look at the very bottom, where we are year to date, there's 3 things I'm going to point out. The first thing is employee retiree funding, about halfway down at $4.7 million. That's what they're coming out of their paychecks to put toward the insurance program, and school board level funding at $7.4 million. Okay, and then if you go down one more, you see school board additional funding of $1.1 million. Okay, so that's money coming out of the school board coffers. My percentages, I'm just noticing that there's a formula error on there, but it is about 70-30, not 60-40. So I'm sorry about that. I need to double check that and I'll get back to you. But that $7.4 million and the $1.1 million are all coming from the school board. So it's actually about 70% that you're getting from the school board funding, and the rest is coming from the employees, and a monthly average of 1.6 million. So year over year, we're running 12% better than the prior year. So that's a good thing. However, if you look at the funding, you're still having to pull excess funds, and Ms. LaFawn, she budgeted for that. And right now we're running within that budget by a fair margin, okay? So we budgeted properly, that was good. The cost of medicines and everything else is increasing astronomically. Trend on pharmacy right now is about 9%, about 6% on medical, but y'all are running 12% better than y'all did last year. So that's a good thing. But it's not getting, long-term, it's not getting any cheaper. So what I've said over the years is the only way to improve this program is for increased revenues, which leads us to part 2. So any questions on the ag report where we are right now?
Any question?
And I'll send that formula change. That's just a little glitch on my part to Miss Ortiz, and she'll get it to you guys. It was just a formula thing. So.
Okay, moving on to item B, to consider enhancements to the self-funded medical plan as presented by Buddy Leday of Gallagher Benefit Services, Inc. Mr. Leday again.
Thank you. So with consultation with the administration, what we did is we go to our analytics department, healthcare analytics, and what we do is we run basically a report to try to decipher what's affordable, what's more and most impactful to the employee. There's also some level of just discussions with different people of what do they feel would be important to them in terms of their medical benefits and improving them. Okay, so what we're proposing you guys to do it's a set of things that we feel are doable for next year, which will improve the plan. The first of which will be the reduction of the primary care copay for all people on the copay plan. So you'll have 2 plan options. One is a high deductible plan, and one is the copay plan. 96% of the people on the copay plan. There's a very small percentage on the high deductible plan. So this will be the most impactful. So the copay going from $40 to $20 for primary care, which is a tremendous benefit. Reduction of specialists from $65 to $35. Reduction of deductible from $3,000 per individual to $2,500 per individual for for in-network and out-of-network from 6,000 to 5,000 for individuals. Reduction of deductible from 6,000 to 5,000 for a family and out-of-network from 12 to 10 per family. Reduction of out-of-pocket max from 6,000 to 5,000 per individual and out-of-network from 12 to 10. Reduction of out-of-pocket max from 12 to 10 per family and out-of-network from 24,000 to 20 per family. Now, the out-of-network guys always say this, really kind of irrelevant because it's Blue Cross. It's really hard pressed to find somebody not in network, but there are some people who every once in a while are getting a debate with Blue Cross and fall out of network for a period of time. So majority of this will be in-network benefits. This affects the plan, the copay program, which affects 95% of the people, plus the retirees who are not yet 65 and Medicare eligible, and actually some that are past 65 who didn't put into Medicare, so they're not eligible for that program. It's a good time for doing this, we feel. Again, the way we were able to do this was through, we always said, increased revenues with the new tax reform that took place. There was some monies that was supposed to go towards benefits and salaries. The salaries has already been talked about. Here's the improvement on the benefits. It's a pretty substantial, it's a 7-figure impact to the school board that they're transferring back into the school board from the employee's pocket. In other words, so we're saving them at least about $1 million a year. So it's a good positive thing. Hopefully it helps with recruitment and retention, and hopefully everybody's happy with these improvements. In addition, I'll add that all of these improvements are taking place and there will be no cost changes to the employee. So no, the employees will not be paying any more on their premium equivalents that they pay for this insurance. So all good positive things that we're proposing. So, any questions on that, guys?
I have one, and this is only for option one.
Yeah, so
option one.
Yeah, so there's plan option 1 and 2, okay? So they might be wondering, what are we doing with the high deductible plan? It's fewer people that it affects, but what we're actually kind of doing a few years ago, as we were really in a bad position, we were having to raise the deductible of the copay plan, and it almost brought them too close together. We're bringing the copay plan back to where it was, and the high deductible staying where it always was. So we're not hurting that one, we're not improving, we're just keeping it where it was, because it's actually priced adequately. But for the copay plan, we were trying to, it was just an affordability thing, but it's only for the copay plan. Yeah.
Just a comment. I mean, these are some really meaningful reductions in cost, I think, for our employees. I think that they're really going to appreciate that, with the rate of inflation and the cost of everything going higher. These are things that are really going to be appreciated, I think. So I'm glad that we're able to do that. Exciting.
We have a motion. Oh, okay.
You said it would take effect.
1/1/24.
Now, do we have a motion? Mr. Wright, second by Ms. Charpentier. All right, do we have any, public comment? Any, yes, you have to come up and state your name, please, and your address.
Hi, Angela Uze, 1955 Highway 182, Rachel, Louisiana. Is it still gonna be 60/40 after the deductible?
It's the same, that's still currently the same, correct. So deductible is going down, out-of-pocket maximum is going down, the co-insurance is staying the same.
Okay,
That's
all right.
Yep.
Any other comments from the public? Any board comments? Yes, Ms. Babin.
I just want to say thank you. This is where it's meaningful. This is where our employees are going to benefit. So thank you very much.
Thank Mr. Martin and the work they did in the school board for getting out to the voters about the reform, because it couldn't have been done without that, if I'm being honest. So this is huge. So, and thank the voters.
Yeah.
So.
And Ms. LaFawn and Mr. Martin.
Yeah.
All right, so with there being no other questions or comments, let's go ahead and vote. Motion passed. Thank you very much, Mr. Ledet.
Yes, thank
And I
you.
want to let you know that I told the retired teachers today that they were going to get a little surprise tonight, so I told them to watch, so hopefully they are.
Well, just on that note, I'm glad you brought it up, Ms. Marion. I'll make a comment on that, because it's good for everybody, because the retirees that are on this plan, one, But I know there's a lot of them on the Humana plan, and they're gonna say, well, what about, well, the Humana plan, first of all, doesn't even have a deductible, but they already have top benefits, but they're getting a decrease in what they're gonna pay for it next year. So, because if you remember right, Humana came back with a decrease on a 2-year rate guarantee too. So they're guaranteed to pay less than they're paying now for the next 2 years. So they're getting a benefit over the next year, 2 years as well.
And they
So-
know that. I told them that because they knew that already. But this was gonna be their surprise.
So we just gotta hope the claims run for the rest of the year. We can get where we need to get, and I know there's some budgeting things, but I'm pleased y'all approved this. This is something I know they've been. So thank y'all.
Thank
Yeah.
you. All right, moving on to finance. A. Moving on to finance, A, to consider authorizing Superintendent Jared Martin to sign the Verizon funding commitment letter for the 2023-2024 school year. Mr. Martin, do you do that, or Mr. Fong? Oh, Mr. Schultz, I'm sorry, I didn't see you there, Mr. Jamie.
This is a document that we have to submit to Verizon annually, basically, agreeing that we are a government agency and that we can take advantage of the government benefits from Verizon Wireless. This is for our staff, cell phone, account, wireless devices.
Any questions? Do we have a motion? Mr. Wright, second by Ms. Sharpenshave. Any questions from the public? Any questions or comments from the board? If not, let's vote. Motion carries. B, to consider authorizing advertisement for bids for pest control services. Oh, Mr. Biasley, y'all keep fighting for me tonight. Hi, Mr. Biasley.
Our district contract for pest control services is getting ready to expire, so I'm just requesting permission from the board to check out for bid, so we can continue these services.
So I move that, and we second by Ms. Sharpenshave. Any, questions from the, or any comments from the public? Any questions from the board? If not, let's vote. Carries. Item C, to consider authorizing employee stipend pays utilizing the state appropriation budget for the 2023-2024 fiscal year as presented by Mufon Ortiz, businessman. Ms. Ortiz.
Yes.
You're not hiding.
This evening, I'm asking for your approval to authorize stipend pay to our employees. This is through a special state appropriation which was approved by the legislature back during the spring. This will be a one-time stipend to our employees who qualify, and the qualification requirements would be active, full-time, certified and professional employees who are hired before October 1st of 2023 and remain active on payroll, which is defined as having an active job salary record for which they are currently receiving pay. They are active on payroll or through the distribution date of November 17th, 2023. They will be eligible to receive a $2,000 one-time stipend. Likewise, the full-time support staff who meet those same qualifications will be eligible to receive a $1,000 stipend. And then in addition to that, our active part-time employees who meet the qualifications of being hired prior to October 1, active on payroll, and remain so through November 17th of 2023, which will be our funding distribution date, they will be eligible to receive a $500 stipend. And this is based upon the criteria established for part-time employees, which is fairly limited in the realm of our part-time employees. They have to be working outside of a temporary or ancillary contract and long-term substitute authorizations. They also have to be employed for 4 hours a day or an average of 20 hours per week during the payroll week, and they have to be in a position that is considered permanent. So most of these employees would fall as child nutrition technicians or custodians, print shop clerks, and IT assistant. And then on the next page, you see the list of part-time employees who are not considered permanent and who are excluded from this stipend. And those would be childcare workers, tutors, bus monitors, bus attendants, pandemic clerks, substitutes, temporary contract employees, and ancillary contract employees. All of those part-time positions are not included in the stipend pay. The total estimated cost for the stipends in November is $4,019,072. This money is provided to the district through that special state allocation through the legislature.
Do we have a motion? Ms. Shropenshay, second, Mr. Wright. Do we have any public comment? Any board comment or questions? Okay. Ms. Babin?
So I just want to make sure that we are, everybody is aware. It says in here in the report, that it's going to be, let's see how it's stated, distribution November 17th. So they should expect to receive this payment on November 17th. Thank you very much.
The criteria set for the part-time people, that was set by the state, that was set by the district.
Would you elaborate though, is the State Department paying us for any part-time people?
They are included in the FTE count if they are a part of the job classifications that are included. Not all job classifications are included. A good example would be preschool. There's no state allocation for preschool. That particular funding will come from the district. And some of our part-time people as well. Most of the ones you see that are excluded from there is part-time work that is either very seasonal or in addition to ancillary to employees full-time.
The one question I had was the pandemic clerks. I know they're permanent this year and then it's gonna go away, but it's still a permanent job this year.
It is for this year is based on ESSER funding, which is not considered permanent.
Any other questions?
And I'd also like to point out that we're using district funds to make up the delta between what the state gives us and what we're paying, because we have employees that don't qualify for any of this that will receive this.
Right.
The parameters around this are actually more generous as defined by the district than what the state.
Right, any other questions? And it comes at a really good time as they're leaving for the Thanksgiving holidays, some Christmas shopping, so, this is, really, really exciting. And that's some more good news for our employees, so let's go ahead and vote. And I'm sure. That carries. Item D, to receive the monthly budget to actual report for the major funds from the period through August 31st, 2023.
Yes, this is our first budget report for the 2024 operating budget. It is reporting on 3 of our major funds as identified in the 2022 Annual Comprehensive Financial Report. And those funds are the General Fund, the 1995 Sales Tax Salary Restricted Fund, and the Salary Supplement Fund. To date, revenues collected in the General Fund are 16.1%, and expenditures, which consist of those things that have been, items that have been spent or obligated, is 62.3%. That is approximately $96 million, $6 million of which has actually been expended. The other $90 million is encumbered, and the bulk of that is for salaries and benefits for our employees. In the 1995 Sales Tax Salary Restricted Fund, there has been very little activity. We have collected less than 1% of the revenues, and that represents interest earnings. Tax collections for this fund will be realized beginning in September. And then your Salary Supplement Fund, the same is true for revenues. Those revenues are not expected to be collected until beginning in January of 2024, and the revenues you do see there represent interest earnings, and there are no expenditures on that fund. Very little to report on that as it is the first, report of the year. If there are any questions, we'll be glad to answer.
If not, we'll move on to item E, to receive a financial report on Hurricane Ida response and recovery to date. Ms. Ortiz.
Yes, to date, we've spent or encumbered a total of $105.1 million. 9.2 million of that has actually been spent, and the other 14.9 is obligated through contractual obligations for architectural and construction services. Most of what is remaining is all permanent work and construction on our buildings. Our construction services, we originally, when this all began 2 years ago, Hurricane Ida, we originally estimated that we would spend about $77 million in construction costs, and to date we have spent $37 million. So we're still within the realm of what we anticipated. And at the bottom of the page, you see the FEMA report as reported to Hancock Whitney Bank, which is our trustee for the hurricane loan funds, and reimbursements received in the month of August were $354,521. The aggregate FEMA reimbursements received is $41.2 million, and FEMA has obligated a total of $56.9 million.
Any questions? If not, we'll move on to transportation. Thank you very much. All right, this is to receive a report of transportation events from the previous month. Mr. Hubble.
Yes, thank you. August finished. It was a busy month with a lot of phone calls coming in. The department was trying to stay ahead of everything. Overall, the month of August was good. We were able to add 2 more drivers. This past week, we have 1 more driver sent to HR, and then tomorrow we'll be getting another driver sent to HR. So we'll have 2 more for this month. So we keep going in the right direction. What we're doing in the next 2 months is looking at the system we have in place and to create a better system of having the information out of who's on alternate directly from the department to the administration to the drivers, and see how we can tie in the community being able to see what buses are on alternate so they know and have a better timeline of buses on time that will be late and delayed because of alternates, all that with breakdowns. So that's our goal for the next 2 months. Any questions?
I did a question. Have we lost anybody to terrible parachute?
No, nothing yet.
Good, thank you.
I don't think we will. I think it's more of a.
Your buses only ride on 5 tires.
And in the Bayou Blue area, they only ride on one side of the road.
I just have a comment. I saw in the news, I've been keeping up with you with the St. Tammany technology that they're using for the routes, knowing where your child is on the route, and they're having lots of problems. So I'm glad they're getting the kinks out before we get into it.
Definitely, yeah, because that's a costly venture.
Yeah,
Yes.
to not be working the way it should.
In fact, they had one lady on the news that one of her children, she gets all the right stuff. The other child, she doesn't have any idea where they are.
They just call us and we'll.
Yeah.
And how are you working towards your goal of 100 drivers by December?
We're getting there. I just got informed last week that did have a driver that say they're resigning due to personal reasons. He's at that age of retirement, so he's ready to move on. But we're in the right direction of he's leaving out, and I have this one that is in HR right now, and then tomorrow we'll have another one come in. So as long as we stay ahead, and the goal is if we send 2 every month for new hires, we should stay ahead. That'd be 12 for the total year, and that would cover usually 5 to 6 employees that retire or resign. So that's the overall goal, is to stay at 2 per month that we're sending to HR.
Any training scheduled?
Not right
near
now.
Future.
Not right now. No, ma'am.
Any other comments, questions?
Just the training that's in October, what's the required hours?
We don't have a training in October right now. Oh, we were looking to schedule one, but we don't have one set up yet.
Is there any other question? If not, then having no other business,